And God only knows what great things we could manage under such conditions. We're becoming incredibly technologically powerful. And what would it be what would it be like if we became equally wise? Well, that would really be something. God only knows what we could manage in the next 20 years or the next 100 years, you know? We're running at 40%, most of us, you know, because we're half in and half out. And it's not surprising because life is difficult. It's like, well, what if you were 90% in or 95% in or all in? Because you're all in anyways, right? It's a life and death game. No one gets out of this. Everyone dies. You might as well commit yourself. And you might as well commit yourself to the highest good that you can attain, because why not? It'll imbue your life with meaning. It's hard, the responsibility's there, but all the meaning's in the responsibility. And that'll make your life better. It'll make your family's life better. And it should make your culture better. Maybe it make the world better. It's like, that'll justify your damn miserable existence at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're wondering what the hell you're doing here. And that's a good thing, because there's going to be days when you're aching and tired and sore, and there's people in your family that are sick, and you're cynical and bitter, and you need a reason to get up, and you think, yeah, well, a little more heaven and a little less hell, maybe I can pull that off today and tomorrow and next week. And that's worth struggling forward for.
What's up, Hexicans? Welcome to another educational stream here on my YouTube channel, HEX. Today, we will be learning of what drives the crypto price. Why does everything go up and down together? What is Hart's law? And all of these nice things. And I see we have already 15 people here in the house. So let's start the show. Let's get a little introduction running. You still guys have some time to grab something to drink, you know, like 2 or 3 minutes of introduction. Because first I want to show you what we will be talking today. So there are so many things that that have a factor on the price, which is supply and demand, the first two topics that we'll be talking about. Then it's Hart's law, one of the most important laws that we have to think about in our Hexican situation right now. And then later on, we will also talk about all the other factors that also impact the price. So this, what you just see here, is what we will be discussing today in this mind map that I have prepared for you guys. But first, I want to tell you, if you go and look into the video's description, you see the link for today's mind map, and you can just check it out yourself. Maybe you want to dig deeper into the topic and enjoy the mind map that I created. So this also the charts that are really important for today's stream. So let's go through them really quick. Here we have the pull chain and die chart, right? Look at the liquidity, look at the price. These numbers will be discussed in today's stream. So here's another great chart, Pulse X, Pulse Chain, and it's all nominated against Pulse Chain in this case. Beautiful run up. Now it's going down a little bit. Everybody's a little bit hurt, but look at this huge liquidity here. And you see already how I'm emphasizing the liquidity. So here the INC token, I was not speculating too much on this. I just have it here right now because I want to go back to Pulse X and let's see how this chart looks. Okay, it looks like this, and the INC chart looks similar to me. So has that maybe something to do with Hart's law? Because also the INC token, huge liquidity. I remember the last 3 years in HEX, right? We never had $30 million in liquidity, but the INC token did it in a couple of days. So one of the most interesting charts to me, and this chart sparks a lot of debate. EHEX versus HEX. This is also nominated against HEX here. You see the yellow line is the parity. And just today, somebody was buying EHEX like crazy. Is there a whale correcting the ratio? OMG. 18% in the plus, just in the last, I would say 12 hours or something like this. We are only, 15, 17% from parity. Very interesting. Here's the chart that I hate the most right now. Look at the, back then, guys. Do you remember here, January 1st, 23? I personally thought it was the bottom, okay? I thought, okay, now we can start with the bull. Then pull chain launch. Nobody expected that, by the way. Nobody expected pull chain launching. Then we crashed like this. And to me, it looks like a triple bottom. If something like this even exists in TA, I don't know. But here's actually my favorite chart. Hex nominated against pull chain. And look at this, guys. Doesn't that totally look different than the pull chain chart, for example? Okay, we had a nice run up. And then since May 22nd, it is going down, right? But how does the Hex pull chain chart look? Well, it looks like a flat line, basically, right? You see I've drawn here a lot of things. Whenever it is here in this green area, under 100, then I think it is a good time to buy. We have seen prices of 1 hex for 210 pull chain already. And, there's a lot of opportunity. My favorite chart in this ecosystem. And again, the liquidity just huge. Let's go back to the chart that I don't like too much because it's bleeding right now. And there's baby liquidity, only $3 million in liquidity. And what exactly this means, like this big liquidity compared to the little baby liquidity? Well, this is the fundamental question of today's stream. So I hope you guys all shared out the stream here today. You see there's a lot of value, a lot of work I've put into this mind map. Please share the link, the Twitter link. I've put the link into the description. Tell everybody that they can find the mind map here in the video description. And now let's start with the mind map. Maybe I can also look into the chat really quick. I see Pulse Former already in the house. Valen is in the house. And Glenn. All right, no questions asked yet. This is why, because everybody is excited and wants to learn about what drives the price in crypto. So let's start this. Okay, so you guys already know there are many factors what drives the price in crypto, right? And here we have the first one, supply and demand. And supply is the first thing that we have to look in right now. So look, for this specific part, I was asking ChatGPT, and now it doesn't let me zoom anymore. I definitely need to zoom for you guys, right? This is too big. Well, now the mind map seems to be not working right now. Give me a second here. I will try to close it down. I will open it up. And we will hope that I can zoom then. It is a good mind map, guys. You will get a lot of value out of there. I'm 100% the zooming will work in a second here. Damn it. Guys, I cannot zoom in my mind map. What is going on here? I don't understand what is going on. Can I zoom somehow differently? Okay, I found a hack here. It's going to be clunky, but I found the keyboard shortcut to zoom in. So let's bring that up again. Supply and demand, the first thing that we need to talk about, what is the supply, right, in crypto? The supply in crypto is totally different than in the stock market, for example. In the stock market, we talk about market cap, for example. There market cap makes actually sense, but it doesn't make too much sense in crypto, right? So let's zoom in here a little bit more. So we can read what in crypto the different kinds of supplies are all about. So let me just read it. In the world of cryptocurrency, supply refers to the total amount of quantity of a particular cryptocurrency that exists or will ever exist. It represents the number of coins or tokens that can be bought, sold, or used in transactions. The supply of a cryptocurrency can vary depending on its design. You see, in Bitcoin, for example, we will look at these numbers in a second. We have a max supply of 21 million, right? Ethereum is just inflating, the same with Hex, and this is just the supply side. Some cryptocurrencies have a fixed supply, meaning there's a predetermined maximum number of coins or tokens that can ever be created. For example, Bitcoin has a maximum supply of 21 million coins. On the other hand, some cryptocurrencies have a variable or inflationary supply, where new coins or tokens can be created over time. This means that the total supply can increase as new coins are minted or issued. Ethereum is an example of cryptocurrencies with a variable supply. Understanding the supply of cryptocurrencies is important because it can influence the value and price. Generally, if the supply is limited and the demand for the cryptocurrency increases, it can lead to increase in its value. Conversely, if the supply is high and demand is low, it may result in a decrease of value. So you see already the words here that ChatGPT is using, may. Later on, we will see the word tend, right? I don't like these words because they're a little bit squishy, right? They're a little bit flexible, and I don't like flexible things when it comes to my price, but this is for later. It's worth noting that supply is only one factor that can affect the price of a cryptocurrency. The other factors, such as market demand, adoption, utility, and overall market condition also play a significant role in determining its value. And today's live stream is all about value. We want to understand what drives the price of cryptocurrency, what drives the All right, I think I'm back. Sorry, guys, for that. Happened the first time. Maybe the mind map is just too heavy for what I'm, for what equipment I'm using. Still 19 people watching here. So let's go into the chat really quick. Let's check everybody. Give me some feedback. Are you guys still with me? Can you see me right now? How's the sound? Can you see the screen share? And when did I fade off? When did you not hear me anymore? That would be interesting to know. So I can actually go back in this mind map and just start from there. So performer, Yuri is saying frozen. Machiavelli in the house as well. JB, hey, how's it going, man? Thank you guys for being here, 20 people watching. Since I don't see any feedback, it seems like you guys are up to date with me. Let's zoom in there a little bit. So supply, first thing that we need to understand when it comes to the prices and how the prices are formed. You see here, there are other things like the demand, adoption, utility, overall market conditions. We will jump into that. But first, I want to explain what is the supply, right? We already talked about Bitcoin, Ethereum, different models. Bitcoin has its max supply, and Ethereum has an inflationary supply. The circulating supply, right, this is what CoinMarketCap uses. Circulating supply is the best approximation of the number of assets that are circulating in the market and in the general public's hands, right? The coins that are out there circulating supply. Then there's something called total supply. We define total supply as the total amount of coins in existence right now, minus any coins that have been verifiably burned. And then there's the max supply, the best approximation of maximum amount of coins that will ever exist in the lifetime of a cryptocurrency. This is also known as the theoretical max number of coins that will ever exist. And this to me is a little bit controversial here. Of course, CoinMarketCap is in the cryptocurrency space, and sometimes it makes sense to count these coins, and sometimes it makes sense to exclude these coins and so on. But they are doing shady things with HEX. They are just excluding coins, because they want to count these coins and not these coins. But this is a story for another time. Let's go on with our supply here. And let's look at the different examples that we have with Bitcoin, for example. We see that Bitcoin has a circulating supply of 19.3 million coins right now. And these are the coins that are in general public's hand, like you're seeing here. They're just out there. Somebody has them in their wallet, maybe a miner, maybe a holder, maybe an exchange, but these coins are circulating out in the wild and could be sold at any time. That's like a little word that we have to remember later. It's the selling and buying that is really important. And look at this, we have a max supply of Bitcoin here, 21 million. A lot of people actually do not know that all of those 21 million coins have not been produced yet. The miners are still going. The next couple of years, they have a lot of Bitcoin still to mine, and then the maximum supply will be 21 million. So the idea of a Bitcoin is very, very obvious to me when we look at these numbers, right? It is a scarce asset. That's how we call it. There won't be ever more Bitcoin than 21 million. And now we have this thing going on in our head, right? There are only this much coins. Okay, the price is this much. I better get my hands on these coins now, as long as they are cheap, right? So the scarce aspect of a coin is definitely on Bitcoin's side. And that's probably why it's such a good store of value. We'll talk about that later as well. Let's see at other examples here. We have a circulating supply of Ethereum, 120 million, way more than Ethereum. And that is something that I often hear criticized from the Bitcoin maxis when it comes to Ethereum. They're just saying, well, Ethereum is, not different than the dollar, for example. The dollar just inflates, Ethereum inflates as well. And then we have the third example here with HEX that inflates even more. And there are even more coins in existence and in circulation than when it comes to Ethereum, for example. But now the question is, well, does this, what we are seeing here, actually really matters for the price? Well, we have supply, we have demand, we have all these other factors that we will talk about, what makes the price. And these things, guys, these are just narratives. The circulating supply, the max supply, the supply that inflates on the market, it all doesn't matter. But today, we want to find out what actually matters. And therefore, we need to go through all the things that create the price. So the next thing is the demand here. So let's first read what demand is. And look, now I can also zoom. So perfect. Demand refers to how much people want to buy something, right? It doesn't matter if it's gold, silver, if it's stock. In the context of cryptocurrency, it means how many people are interested in buying or owning a specific digital currency. High demand means people want to buy it, and low demand means few people are interested in buying it. And we could go back to our charts here, right? And when we see this here, green and red candles, only few green, a lot of red candles, what could that mean when we just have read this text here, for example, right? It seems like there is a very low demand for HEX right now. Maybe because Pulse Chain just came out, Pulse X is out, it's the new shiny object. Everybody is looking into the other direction, and HEX is not getting as much attention. And you see already here how much more important the demand side is compared to the supply side. Supply doesn't matter at all. It's just a narrative. The narrative is that Bitcoin is capped, 21 million coins. Nobody cares. Yes, it is a psychological thing that people now value it more because it's scarce. We'll talk about that later as well. But overall, the only thing that matters for price is buying and selling. And demand is representing the buying and selling here. It's so much more important than the supply. But there is more, guys, when it comes to demand. So when there is a high demand for something and a limited supply, the price tends to go up. This is because people are willing to pay more to get what they want when there isn't enough available of it. Similarly, when there is low demand and high supply, the price tends to go down because there are more coins or tokens available than people want to buy. So this is the argument for Bitcoin here, for example, right? Something is limited supply, it is scarce, so ChatGPT tells us it tends to go up, right? And funny enough, we have Hart's law. We will dig deeper into that. But right now, I want to discuss why I do not really like those 10 words, right? Because in cryptocurrency, it's all mathematics. And we can now find out what is the only thing that matters for the price. And here you guys see it. When you are in the crypto hard ecosystem, you know it's only buying and selling. When people buy an asset, the price goes up. When people sell an asset, the price goes down. And when I'm saying buying and selling, this could also be translated to supply and demand, right? So there is not that much demand here. That's why the prices are going down. Or there's a lot of demand and the prices are going up. And the reason why I do not personally like the word tent here, right, is because markets, let's talk about the legacy market here for a second. The legacy market there, yes, everything is very subjective, right? We have a lot of liquidity pools, a lot of different markets. People trade all around the world their assets. And there it might be true that when there is low demand, that the prices tend to go down. definitely can be for legacy market, but how does it work in cryptocurrency? And this is what I have here. So I do not need to go too deep into that, right? And this here is a graphic of Uniswap. It shows us how the liquidity provider, the decentralized liquidity providers, provide the liquidity. They get their little fee here, right? And now those tokens that are available to trade are in the Uniswap pool. And look, the trader can now come in. He can take his 10 token, put it in, and he takes 1 token out. He also pays a little fee. And the thing to get it here is Unismart is a smart contract that works just like a calculator. 2 + 2 is 4. It doesn't matter if you like me or not. This is always true. So Uniswap is just a mathematical function that is utilized, right, to create a price. And here we have another picture that shows it a little bit better how the Uniswap V2 pool actually works, because this is what we have in PulseX. So the trader is coming in here, he puts his 3 token A into the pool, and he takes almost 1 token B out. And you see the formula right here, X times Y equals K. And K in this case is a constant, right? This K is never changing. The only things that are changing is X and Y. And because there are so many things here in this picture, I have another one as well. I just want to point out here, look, the price was 3, and then a trader came in, did his thing, and now the price is 3.015. The price went higher because of that trade, right? And depending on which side the trade goes, the price could go higher or lower. And because I can imagine if you see this for the first time, it might be a little bit confusing. And that's why we have another graphic here, a little bit more simplified. And it basically just shows that you have this curve, and this curve is the price chart, right? You don't see it right now, but let's say here's a low price, here's a high price. And if you have a lot of token A, which is represented here, and now you put a lot of token A into the pool, sorry, you have a lot of token A here in this pool right now. This is represented here. And now you buy a lot of those token A. What happens to the quantity of asset A? Is it going up or is it going down? Well, easy. If you buy the tokens, if you take them out the pool, then the quantity of token A is going down. And what must happen on this graph? Well, the price is going like this line here. And then there is maybe just this much. So what is the quantity of token B once token A gets sold? It is more. Look, it goes to the right. So this is how the price is formed. It is just putting in and taking out of the liquidity pools when you trade. Let's make an example here really quick. You have liquidity pools with your assets HEX and USDC. There's 100 HEX and 100 USDC. And when you want to buy HEX, you take your USDC from your own pocket, you put it into the pool, and you take out HEX. And this is exactly what represents here, token A and token B. It's just a balance here, basically. I can imagine that's a little bit complicated. I would not know how to explain that more. I would like to go to the next step here now, which is Hart's law. And then obviously there are other factors. And I can imagine Hart's law here, the most interesting part when it comes to our situation in Hexico, because this is what everybody talks about right now, right? The HEX discussion. Will HEX die? I don't think so, because we have Hart's law. What happens with Pulsechain? I was talking in the beginning of this huge liquidity that Pulsechain on PulseX has, and this little liquidity, little baby liquidity that HEX has. And with that, I want to make you understand that the first factor of what makes the price is supply. It's not that important though. Like Bitcoin has a max supply, nobody cares about that. Second is the demand, which is represented by buys and sells, which is this is the most important part actually. And now we go to Hart's law, where the prices can go up and down even when nobody buys the asset. And why is this? It is exactly because of this reason that we have here. So let me read that. Today I was doing actually some research about Hart's law. I wanted to see if Hart's law actually exists in the real world. Richard Hart came up with Hart's law about, I would say, 2 years ago. No, he saw Bitcoin and Ethereum going up and down. Bitcoin was going up, everything was going up. And then is when he discovered Hart's law. And I was asking ChatGPT about Hart's law, and he came up with something that is a little bit different, which is called Havelmo's law. So let's get into that. The concept you are referring to is often known as Havelmo's law, not Hart's law. But that's okay. We will talk about Hart's law afterwards. Havelmo's law, named after economist Havelmo, is a principle in economics that suggests that in an independent financial market, the prices of different assets tend to move together due to their sheer liquidity and interchangeability. This phenomenon is commonly observed in the cryptocurrency market, where various cryptocurrencies often exhibit similar price movements. And this is because all those cryptocurrencies are bonded together with their liquidity, even Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you see it even on a broad scale that this Hart's law or Havelmo's law is working. And here you see also the word tend to go up and down together. I don't like this tend because we saw in Uniswap, it's just mathematics. There's nothing that is subjective. It is very much just mathematics that defines the price. And that's where Hart's law comes in, by the way. The underlying idea is that when liquidity is shared between different assets, such as cryptocurrencies, investors can easily trade between them. As a result, when there's a significant event or news that affects the market, it can cause a collective response among investors, leading to simultaneous price movements across multiple cryptocurrencies. This behavior is often attributed to investors' reactions to market trends, sentiments, or risk perception, among other factors. Right? I think we can also call it FOMO or FUD, right? When there's FUD going on, like we have it in the HEX community right now with EHEX, HEX, people are in uncertainty, then you see falling prices like this. And when there's FOMO, when there are green candles, then everybody jumps in, everybody talks about it, more and more people buy it, and the price goes up even more. And I think that's very funny when it comes to cryptocurrency. It amplifies itself. It's important to note that Havelmo's law is not a formal economic law, but rather an observation of tendencies in financial markets. The movement of prices in the cryptocurrency market, like any financial market, can be influenced by a multitude of factors. So you see there are other factors that are important for the price. We already talked about supply and demand. We now talked about Hart's law. And now I want to go a little bit deeper into Hart's law and give a couple of examples and show how it actually works. And I want to point out what is the difference between huge liquidity and little baby liquidity. And here we have Access Alive. I give this guy a follow. He's like one of the best and knowledgeable influencers that we have in HEX ecosystem. And he's saying Hart's law at work. And he has posted his charts here that I have here also prepared for you guys. So let's get into that. We see here Pulse Chain versus DAI. It went up in the beginning and it's going down ever since. Pulse X just looks the same. How is that? Well, maybe it is because of the reason that Pulse Chain liquidity here, we see Pulse Chain, $20 million liquidity, Pulse X Pulse Chain, 140 million liquidity. So those two assets are bounded together so strong that when they go up and down, they tend to move together. And again, I use the word tend, even though I don't like it. They move up and down together because the liquidity is bounded. How does the liquidity work? Well, we see it here. It is just mathematics. 2 + 2 is 4. It doesn't matter if you like me or not. So let's look in incentive token. And here we have the similar thing going on. And that's why Access Alive is saying Hart's law at its action, at its best, really. And here the same with HEX USDC, everything bounded together, it all works together. When it comes here to PHEX USDC, well, I want to point out what happens now when we have a huge liquidity pool for HEX on the Pulse Chain side and such a small liquidity pool here of HEX and USDC. For this reason, we go back to our chart here. The thing that you have to understand is how this works, right? It is just token A and token B. And if we see how much liquidity there is for Pulse Chain and Pulse X, we can assume that a lot of token A and a lot of token B are in there. Well, what would need to happen to move the price? And in order to move the price, because this is just a multiplication, right? You can go for the square root, and then you just have to take away half of the supply to 4x the price. And let's do that really quick. Ballparking here. We go to a liquidity pool that is not too big here. Pulse Chain DAI, for example, we have $20 million in liquidity. And because it is V2, it is actually really easy to calculate here. We just take the 20 million, which is in total liquidity here. We divide it by 2. Now we have $10 million in Pulse Chain, $10 million of DAI. And what did I say before? If we take half of the supply of the market from Pulse Chain, which would be here like $5 million, then we 4x the price. So if we take $5 million of DAI, put it into the liquidity pool, and take $5 million, like $5 million worth of Pulse Chain token, we 4x the price. And where would that bring us? To like, I think 6 cents, right? So the chart doesn't reach up there. The mathematical point that I wanted to do here is $20 million. Now let's go to a smaller liquidity pool like HEX, for example. Now let's divide up this liquidity here. And now I'm really ballparking here because now this liquidity is actually Uniswap V3. It works a little bit different because in Uniswap V3 we have concentrated liquidity, but just let's take this aside. Let's take this aside and just let's assume this was Uniswap V2, which is not. We do the same calculation. We have $3 million in the liquidity pool. We divide it by 2, 1.5, 1.5. And now we need to take half of the USDC supply away, which in this case would be $750,000, and we 4x the price. So you see the difference here, right? For Pulse Chain, you would need $5 million to 4x the price. For HEX on USDC, it's different. It's only $750,000 to 4x the price. This is a huge difference, and this is because of the liquidity. So again, I said before, it is just really ballparking here. HEX and USDC on Ethereum is on Uniswap V3. Liquidity works a little bit different here. That's why I was really just ballparking the numbers to give the example of how it works. And then I realize right now I have the liquidity already prepared for you guys here to have all the numbers. EHEX, HEX, liquidity 9 million, HEX Pulse Chain 50 million. And look at this little baby liquidity for HEX on the Ethereum chain, 1,600,000. So these prices, very easy to pump. And now I remember, let's go also to the other liquidity pools. Pulse X and Pulse Chain, 140 million. This is gigantic. And here all the other liquidity pools, not too much. I think with this calculation that I just did, you got the idea, right? But now, if you have not understood it yet, guys, no problem, because we can just do this. I always like to put things into pictures, because with pictures, it's easy to learn. So what am I saying here? And this picture, I got the idea from Pulse Former. I see he is in the house as well. So thanks for that. A picture is worth 1,000 words, even if the word is Hart's law. Pulse Chain and Pulse X have huge liquidity. Wherever they go, HEX and EHEX will follow. Because EHEX has the least liquidity, it can experience intense pumps. Be ready for a volatile ride, everybody. And here you see the fisherman has his rod. And you know, when he has Pulse Chain and there's rod here in the hand, and he just does this all day, right? There's not much volatility, right? We calculated you need $5 million in order to 4x the price. How quick is $5 million entering? Well, it probably takes more time than 750,000, right? Pulse X has already a little bit less liquidity, right, than Pulse Chain. So Pulse X is a little bit up here. And if you do this movement, there's way more movement, more volatility in Pulse X. And then obviously it goes with HEX on the Pulse Chain, and the most liquid, most volatility in HEX on the Ethereum side, because it has baby liquidity. I think our calculation made that very, very clear. And I like this picture a lot because it represents just everything. It represents that where Pulse Chain is going, everything else will lead. And it also shows, do you really want to fish with half a fishing rod? Do you really want to cut the line for the EHEX? No, the EHEX is actually what makes the whole ecosystem so special. All right, so this is this. And now we have other factors as well. When it comes to the price, they are not too important anymore. That's why I want to look into the chat here. If there are just some couple more questions. I see nothing that actually is about the topic, so let's continue. And afterwards, I will go over your questions and answer them. So there are also other factors when it comes to liquidity. So let's see what other factors do we have. We were seeing the adoption is an important thing, and I totally agree. Adoption, that's why I brought out Metcalfe's law, because this is what we all Hexicans waiting for. We are waiting for Metcalfe's law to just, unfold. According to Metcalfe's law, the value of a network grows exponentially as more users join. Create a positive feedback loop that can lead to significant network effects. And that's very interesting here. The Metcalfe's law is the value of networks. Later on, we will look into a picture. And I just want to say, I believe blockchain is communication networks. On blockchain, I can send peer-to-peer from one person to another a transaction and communicate with this manner, right? Of course, the communication sometimes is millions of dollars that we send, but it can be fractions of pennies as well. The important thing is that we just communicate with this. So here we have the network effect. The network effect impacts cryptocurrencies by driving adoption, liquidity, and utility, something that we will discuss in a second as well. As more individuals, businesses, and platforms start using particular cryptocurrency, it creates a large network of users and potential transactions. This increases the network size, enhances the value of a cryptocurrency, making it more attractive for others to join. So as more people are in the network, as more valuable it becomes, and then once it becomes more valuable, we've talked about FOMO, more people get in, and the growth and the price really can go up exponentially. And with this picture, I think it is explained so good. Look, if you just have one connection, like just one line to one other person, two people in the house, we have two nodes, well, it looks very weak. There's not much value here. But look at this. If we 2x the nodes, right? If we have 6 connections, this is already exponentially more. 2 more nodes, it is 5 more connections, right? And now let's double the nodes again, and we have 8 nodes, which gives us 28 connections, and this is the exponential growth that Metcalfe's law is talking about. So adoption, for me, after demand, right? Supply, demand, very important. Demand more important than supply. After Hart's law, that everything goes up and down together, the adoption is what really drives the price. Because if you're able to, double the user base, and in Hex, I think we have like 300,000 stakers or holders. If you double the user base, you make the price go up exponentially. Why? Because more users, maybe more developers, more utilities, and all of these things. So what is a utility? Often we hear that utility is really just a meme. And I would totally agree with that. I think supply and utility you could put on the same level here, because it's really just whatever is in the people's head. One utility of cryptocurrency is that you can send and receive value across borders quickly and securely, right? That's why it is sometimes better than cash, for example. Another utility of cryptocurrency, safe haven against the dollar inflation. Man, if we would not have the safe haven, a lot of us would be poor as hell right now. That's why we save our money in cryptocurrency, just to be safe from all this corruption that is going on in this world. You see already the utility of decentralized applications like borrowing and lending, gaming, identity management, and etc. Is really, nice to have, but does that drive the price? Well, it definitely helps when there are a lot of transactions, when people are gaming, and every transaction burns pulse chain, for example. These are the mechanisms that then make the price go up. Tokenization. NFTs allow to trade real estate or art on the blockchain. They also make our HEX Stakes tradable, right? So being able to tokenize something like a house, for example, right? If I wanted to sell this house, I would have a hard time. There's the government that I would have to trouble with. There's a lot of bureaucracy and so on. But if I just tokenize my house and put it as a little NFT, and now I send the NFT to somebody or sell it, then it's tokenized and it's very easy to handle now who is the owner. In theory, I think we're not there yet with crypto and tokenization, but I think it's all coming in the future. And then the very least utility that we have for cryptocurrency, that I see at least, is governments and voting on a blockchain that can't be corrupted as easy. And I really have high hopes for voting on the blockchain. I think that would be great to have, transparency, to have the possibility to check if the votes are actually casted correctly or not. And I said it's not be able to corrupt as easily because I think Uniswap has a governance token, the Uni token, and who holds most of this token? It is the foundation. So if I come with my 2 Uni token and put it into the smart contract and I vote for this or that, does my voice really count? Not that much compared to the foundation. That's why I'm saying voting on the blockchain, nice, but it needs to be fair. And how do you make it fair? It's really hard. And I think that's why we don't have it yet. Because in cryptocurrency, whoever has the most money has the most token. Who has the most token has the best vote, right? And this is always the problem. Imagine Russia buying token to vote in America. That would be funny. And then we have market conditions. That's also a huge driver for cryptocurrency prices, for all the prices in the world. We have seen it in 2008 with the world stocks crashed, right? And like we were in a recession, all the markets were down. And then we also saw it with the COVID dip, for example. When the whole economy goes down, cryptocurrencies, stocks, gold, everything tends to go down. So in times of economic growth, everything goes up, stocks, gold, crypto. In times of recession, prices tend to go down. And here, I think the word tend works well again, because you could still find the cryptocurrency that pumps even in the bear market. Is this right? So today, I'm not so happy with my mind map tool here, I must say. I'm very happy with the mind map that I created. Man, I love it. Give me some feedback for this mind map that I created here. We are done talking about this. We talked about what is important to create the price, what creates the price, why do cryptocurrencies go up and down together? Supply, demand. We talked about Hart's law. We talked about other factors like adoption, utility, and market conditions. And the most important thing to take from today's stream is hopefully when I showed the Hart's law here and how everything is working together, how there's the most liquidity in pull chain. Wherever pull chain is going, everything else is following. We talked about our little picture here, and I think now Hart's law is really implemented in everybody's head. So now what we will do is we will end this screen share here, and let's go over the chat here a little bit. I know you guys were listening, very exciting. That's very good. Yuri saying the mic is wrecked again a little bit. Damn it, maybe because the microphone is so far away. What would be funny as well is if I do not have the correct microphone plugged in, but it is. So I do not know exactly what is the problem here. But thanks for the feedback. Postform is saying so much alpha, man. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all the work that you're doing, because that's where I learn a lot as well. When I go to YouTube channel from other Hexicans, and that's where I learn, that's where I get my information, and I'm just trying to get the best out of it, what I then can create for my show. You 22 people in here don't even know what you're getting. Well, maybe you don't. You do, that's why you're here. Congratulations. Logi is saying fire. Yuri. This is great when you want to explain to onboards why market cap doesn't matter. I think so too. This is very good to explain why market cap doesn't matter, but I think for this very specific topic, why market cap doesn't matter, I would create another mind map where I show some facts as well. Bull run is coming, guys. Bull run is coming. Yeah, man, it's all about sharing information. And Pulseformer, I hope you have been here from the beginning, because then you know that in the video description, Let's bring that up here again. You can scroll down and you can find the mind map that I talked about here in the video description. What I will do from now on forward, I will use those mind maps to educate, to show, to have all those points aligned and really have like a storyline presented for you. And I will always make my mind maps available for you guys to learn and understand. And what I wanted to say, Fools Former, is please give me a feedback on that when you click on it and when you use it yourself. Does everything work? Because me as an admin of this tool, I don't know if maybe a user would have a little bit of a different experience here. All right, what else can we talk about? There's something in the charts actually that I want to show. So let's put the screen share down. We will now look at the charts. I think I found something very interesting here. Let's go first to the pulse chain chart. Let's zoom out here. So let's see, when was the top of pulse chain? And it was May 22nd. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's probably very small for you. May 22nd, wherever my mouse goes now, will be May 22nd, okay? Let's go to Pulse X and let's see what was May 22nd going on. It was the top here. It was the top in Pulse Chain. In the ink token, May 22nd, we were not there yet at the top, but it was the next day when we had the top. And now let's go to HEX on the Pulse, or we can go to HEX on Ethereum side first, and let's see what happened here. Well, we had the local, actually on the Ethereum side is down only, but on the Pulse Chain side, very interesting. So what is May 22nd? From here, it was a local bottom, and we were actually going up. So let's look at this. From here to here, 30% since May 22nd, right? Just in this one day. And Pulse Chain, May 22nd, there didn't look too good. There it actually went down 25%. Right here, very interesting, some kind of decorrelation. I have to dig a little bit deeper into, because I believe it was the time when the EHEX and HEX pool was pulled as a farm, for example. I believe there was a lot of movement in the liquidity pools going on, right? Some pools were just developing and just got bigger. Some pools got smaller again. I was just, noticing today that on May 22nd, there is the top in Pulse Chain. There's the top in Pulse X in the ink token, and HEX exactly the opposite. May 22nd, we had the little low here and it went up 30%, right? And I would have to dig into the liquidity and see how was it evolving. But I have the feeling that, maybe people were listening to all my streams in the past where they heard Pulse Chain is HEX is dirt cheap compared to the Pulse Chain ratio. And it is still the case. By the way, I was making the argument already way back there that HEX is cheap in Pulse Chain terms, because I just know what is the value of a T-share. And whenever it drops below 100, guys, it is for me a signal to buy. And if you did that, look how much opportunity you had. We will just measure from here. Here already the opportunity of 2x, right? You could have sold in the whole area here. A huge opportunity to buy back your bags here. It was dropping 50%. And then you see the game was played a couple of times by me, for example. So May 22nd, something that I was just realizing today, high in Pulse Chain, high in Pulse X, and then local low in HEX, and it went up actually. So there's like this, decorrelation of HEX and Pulse Chain. And it makes a little bit sense to me as well. HEX has so much less liquidity. And I believe on May 22nd, it was even lower than we see it here right now. Right, let's see. Z is saying, Abed, you have done a very great job on each stream. Thank you. You probably talk about the stream from yesterday. Man, I got so many views and so many likes on this video. People loved it. They thought it was exactly the perfect thing to do, to bring on Richard Hart and let's have him explain what is the situation with EHEX and HEX. If you have not watched the video from yesterday, I think it was a good one. I brought up clips of Richard Hart, and basically we're finding out what is the discussion with EHEX HEX. Will EHEX die? I don't believe so. The very most important point that I realized yesterday when I was watching all the videos of Richard again was that he said, you know what? The very most important thing in all of our operation is two things. First, it is the biggest airdrop in crypto history. With this, it will be very easy to onboard everybody, right? Now you can just say, hey man, you have probably ERC20 tokens, you have them for free on the pull chain. Just come over, check it out, and people will love it, right? And then the second important thing, and this is like what puts the crown on top of Pulse chain, is Pulse X being the most liquid exchange where people bring in the ERC20 token paired with the free copy PRC20 token and give it value. Because this free copy, no value. No value, zero value, right? Even when there was no bridge, it was even zero value. But now people come in, they take your valuable stuff and pair it, they bond the liquidity. We have seen what happens with Pulse Chain and Pulse X and Hex, right? Remember my fishing rod. When you do these kind of things, well, then you give this valueless asset value, and then things will go up and down together. Another word that I was forming yesterday, and I think Richard Hart has not thought about that yet. We were talking about parity, and if the OA would force parity, I don't believe so. I think we will have a floating ratio. I saw Richard Hart doing this this movement, and that's where I came up with the word floating ratio. It will always be a little bit different. Let's go to our EHEX chart here. So here you see the ratio, for example, right now, when it's at the yellow line, the ratio is 1. Right now, the ratio is here 0.5. So PHEX is a little bit stronger. And what I mean with floating ratio is just this here. Let me go to the tools here. We go to rectangular. And with floating ratio, I mean that, so right now the floating ratio is clearly in this range, right? So the floating ratio would be between 70 and 85, right? This would be the floating ratio right now. In the future, when we're not operating on a 4-hour chart anymore, but on a daily chart, for example, and we take our little paint tool here, in the future, we'll probably see something like this, you know, maybe it will touch here, and then you see the floating ratio is a little bit different. Then the floating ratio could be something like this here, right? But overall, I just want to show that the floating ratio is just like two numbers when it comes to our EHEX hex. And it will always operate in this floating ratio. I think it's a good word. What do you guys think? Floating ratio, will it play out like this or not? Will Richard Hart ever force parity? Let's see. It's going to be so interesting to see. All right, guys. Besides that, I do not have too much to talk about anymore. If you guys want me to be on for a couple more minutes, I would do like 10 more minutes without problem, even more if you guys have questions. So put them into the chat. And if you watch the stream afterwards, right, maybe tomorrow or in the next couple of months, because this is definitely evergreen content with the mind map, then put your question into the video description. And while we are on it, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know often people tend to forget the liking and sometimes even the subscription. What we can do is maybe go to Twitter, or is there nothing going on? So let's see. The last couple of minutes for you guys to ask questions. And right now I'm just on Twitter here. We have Sami going on. Sami is probably right now the most interesting influencer in the Hex community when it comes to me, at least, right? That's my personal opinion. In the last couple of months, he gathered thousands of followers. He does such great content, and I cannot even keep up with him. Like, I'm watching every single stream, every single video he does, and sometimes he puts out like 3 videos a day. It's crazy. Go all to your friend Sami and leave him a like and subscribe, guys. Access Alive, one of the other high-value content creators that we have in the Hex ecosystem, always educating, one of the best. And I have met him personally. Great guy. So what I've realized since yesterday, the debate, the really non-issue that we had with EHEX and Hex, it was really just a one-day fly, we would say in Germany, right? The fly was alive for only one day and now it already died off. Everybody understood, well, we cannot let HEX die for a very specific reason. And we talked already about the two things here: the biggest airdrop in crypto history, the most important thing when it comes to pulse chain. But the second important thing is most liquid exchange. We want to bound all the free copies with the valuable coins, the ERC20 coins. And when Richard Hart includes all of crypto and gives everybody a present, right? Wants everybody to come into the yield farm to put in their valuable stuff with the not so valuable stuff to pair it. Well, do you guys think he would exclude Hexicans from this deal? I don't think so. And that is my strongest argument why HEX will never die. Z is saying, yes, Somi is awesome, 100%. Somi has really taken off. He is a rock star covered in sprinkles. And he has fluffy slippers. And now that I remember, I have to sit up straight with my bag. I have 3 ice cubes, or I had them, at least. Logi33 is saying, question, fundamental analysis of Ethereum versus pulse chain. Guess it will be different cause of different updates on each chain. Well, the good thing is that we forked Ethereum, right? 2.0. With all the updates that Ethereum gets, we get them too in the future with sharding or all the other interesting things. So that's a very good part of Richard Hart, that he was forking Ethereum 2.0 and at the BSC. I hope this answered your question. Maybe you are more talking about the fundamental analysis when it comes to the chart. Well, that's not too much of my expertise. This is what Cosmo Jenkins or Access Alive is for. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. I hope I was able to clarify a little bit of what drives the price in crypto. It is the supply that is not that important. It is the demand that is way more important. Buying and selling, Hart's law, a very important topic in the Hex ecosystem, right? Actually for everybody, but the Hexicans, they are the first ones to understand how it works. And then there are other important factors for price, like utility. Adoption is huge. Adoption is all that matters. And that's why we Hexicans are onboarding like crazy. If we double the user base, we make the price exponentially go up, and that's exactly what we want. Well, these were the topics of today. In the next couple of streams, I will have similar mind maps, always educating, always bringing adoption to crypto. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will now play the outro, and then I'm out of here.
If you could live forever, would you?
Yes.
Okay, we're
Don't
not
even
on the
have to
interview.
finish the sentence.
Yes. No. Okay. Sure. That's an attractive idea, but the way I look at it is the knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus that I bring to being alive. The urgency of accomplishment. The need to express love now, not later. If we live forever, why ever even get out of bed in the morning? Because you always have tomorrow. That's not the kind of life I want to lead.
But why don't you fear not being around?
I fear living a life where I could have accomplished something and didn't. That's what I fear. I don't fear death.
You don't fear the unknown.
I love the unknown. I love the. You know what I want on my tombstone? My sister has this in her notes, just in case I can't tell anyone after I die. On my tombstone, a quote from Horace Mann, great educator. Be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity.